Hey guys, it's Derica with Derica's Designs, and today we're making a really cute, simple little butterfly design. Now you can get as elaborate as you want with the butterfly, but really when you're putting them in a wreath, and I always recommend making two of them because maybe with contrasting colors because they just kind of highlight each other, but they're just really simple and really easy. Now you can see on these ones, I did them just a little bit different using different types of fabrics and things, which I recommend as well. You can add eyes and a face. Listen, it's your butterfly. Do whatever you want with it. Now you can see on the pattern piece, let's see if I have one here. I drew out the wing design, right? And I drew on all the little cutouts and everything. But on this design, well, I have it on the back too, I didn't cut any of them out. I just wanted to use a nice flat, this is kind of more of a very elegant little butterfly with the little sequins on it. Just very simple and very sweet, okay? It just really, it's for whatever your wreath is going for, whatever ribbons you're using, whatever you want. You can just add one butterfly in there, you can add two. So when you see the pattern with all these little cutouts, just know that's a guideline. You don't have to cut all of those out if you don't want to, okay? So you could do something very simple like this using the lame and then just some glitter and then just some sparkly pink. Honestly, it's just simple, cute, pretty, okay? Now, I like to get a little edgy with it sometimes, so I did this one where I used the EVA glittered foam sheets from Hobby Lobby. They're so easy, they're so fun to use. So I just layered. This is actually floppy. I didn't put any foam board, and I should tell you this one, this is poster board. Now the little body is foam board, so you have to have some rigidity there to hold it into your wreath. But I like the wing having a little bit of play to it where it's not stiff, you know? So what I did, this is gonna look ugly on the backside, just forewarned. I took a piece of the glittered purple EVA foam and I made it so that it popped through each one of the holes that I wanted it to. And then I put the light pink, and you can see, like I said, it's not pretty. So for me, I would probably put another piece of something solid here. Whatever you have that is, it could be felt, it could be another piece of EVA foam, just whatever you want to kind of hide this ugly. Listen, if you're putting it in your own wreath and you get it in there, nobody's gonna see the ugly side. So, but if you're selling attachments, this takes it to a different level as far as I would want my customer, I would want this to be covered. And I would make the whole wing piece well before you even attach it to the body. So the wing piece is completely solid. So kind of like this. Here, I have a piece that's cut here. Let's see if it's the same way. So I would just take a piece of whatever, foam, cotton, just whatever you have to cover the back to make it pretty, okay? So it doesn't look like that. And you can even add it up here on the body too. So you can do the whole thing. This was a piece that we're gonna be working on today. But this was just a really nice design that I have. Now, if you want a monarch butterfly, listen, do the black overlay, but don't cut out these holes, or you can cut them, but I would use white underneath, because if you've seen a monarch butterfly, these would be like a dark orange color, and you can use cotton, you can use felt, you can use fleece, you can use whatever color you want as the back underside, right? Anything, whatever color that makes your butterfly the color that you want it. But I would, if you wanted to use white on these, that would be okay, but I would also use maybe some puff paint or something to kind of put little dots of white and spread, because if you look at a monarch butterfly, they have lots of little white dots around the edge, okay? So again, the cutout pattern is a suggestion. It is not, you do not have to cut them all out. If you didn't want to cut out any of these outside ones, and you just wanted to do the white dots with maybe little pieces of felt or with some puff paint or whatever, then do it that way. So, excuse me, oh my gosh. So just know that I like to have a pattern that can be used in many, many different ways. And this little butterfly wing is fantastic. Also, if you're a little crafty, if you are comfortable with crafting and making things, you can make this body face forward. Okay, you're just gonna do a little whoop. It's like it's gonna be like from here to here, and then the little head on top. Okay, so I think a lot of you can draw pretty well, but you would just do a round head and then like the image of a butterfly body, right? And then you could put two of them on. I mean, obviously you make them match for sure, but you know what I'm saying? Like you can change up this butterfly to work so many different ways for you. So I'm going to do this butterfly with just the pink today to show you kind of how I get it all together. But if you are wanting, now you see what I did. I had to cut all these little pieces to get them to glue behind here. It just took me a little minute to figure out, but you could do a color up here, a different color down here. Honestly, you don't have to do black either. Just whatever, you know. And then again, if you don't want to do all the cutouts, just do a solid, and then just do some really pretty. You can use sequins like this. You can use like a pipe cleaner. I know they have like pinks and iridescents and sparklies. You can do pipe cleaners on here. You can do whatever's gonna make it look like you want it, okay? And again, and this may not be your focal point for a wreath. Say you're making a big, beautiful springtime wreath with all the flowers and everything in it. This might just be one little butterfly that you're just gonna put kind of off in a corner. It's just an amazing way to make something handmade that you can add to your wreath that just adds value to it, okay? And they're super cute and super easy. And again, if you wanna make it with two wings, a big oak butterfly, that might be a focal point simply because it's so big, but it's up to you, I like patterns that can be used for so many different things. Okay, so let's get going on this guy. It's not going to take us very long to make this, guys, because I've already got everything cut out. But as you know, cut out your foam board. I use an X-Acto knife. It's the easiest. Figure out which direction you want it to go. Okay, and make sure you're cutting all of your pieces to go that direction. Okay, that's important because, I mean, listen, I have messed it up and had to start over. Okay, that's actually why this one is facing this direction, because I cut the wing or I cut one of them backwards. So I had to swap it, or I mean, I covered them with fabric. This is not cut. I covered the wrong side with fabric, so I had to make it go the opposite direction. Either way, it doesn't matter. So the way I do that is if you want yours to face this way, put your pattern wing back here, place both the fabric or whatever fabric you're wanting on top of it like this, and then flip it over. And then you know for sure you've got the right side covered, because it's so easy to flip it around in your head. And I don't know if any of us are like totally perfect with that. You know, it's just one of those things. So I lay whatever fabric you're using, and like I said, black felt actually looks really good on this. Now I'm using the glitter foam, but a matte black felt honestly looks really good for the body. And you can do black felt here and then glitter back here, or black felt and black felt. I just chose the glitter foam sheets because that's what I had in front of me, and I also like the way it looks, you know. So just like I said, make sure before as you're cutting everything out, that everything is facing the right direction. It's very easy to swap it around. Okay, so now, if I were doing this, where I didn't cut the holes through, and I was going to put a fabric over this, you're going to use some poster board, right? You're just going to cut a piece. And even though I drew the little things on it, and you can see I drew it on this one too, but then I decided not to cut them out. So I just covered it whole. Okay, so I would probably cover the back of this too, because that just looks kind of silly back there, right? These are just my, test ones to make sure, I have everything right. But if you're using a glitter, now if you're using felts, you're probably going to still need the piece of poster board. You're going to still need it because the felt is going to be so floppy. But the great thing about this foam sheets is they have a little bit, they're going to stand up. Like, I mean, it's not just falling over, you know, and so you don't necessarily need the poster board on this unless you just want to maybe take a piece of poster board and cover the back with that. Like I said, you can cover the back with whatever you want. So anyway, I know it's a whole lot of info coming out really quick, but I want you guys to know that these patterns, you know, you can customize them however you want them. Whatever look you're going for. And what a great pattern to have in your arsenal of just a cute little butterfly, very simple. Again, you can put eyes and a mouth on there, whatever. You can put little feet on there, little pipe cleaner legs. You can do whatever you want with it. But just know that this is the base of the pattern. All right, so because I know I'm going this direction, because I've already cut out my wing this direction, right? So my wings are headed this way. I've already cut them out. And on this, I drew the pattern on the back, and then I used the X-Acto knife, same thing, to cut this out. You can try scissors, but you're gonna have little jagged edges. X-Acto knife, you can just go right around, super easy, make the curves really nice. It just takes a little extra time, but it's actually pretty easy. So now I'm going to make, well, that way I know they're both facing the right direction. And then I'm just gonna take a piece of quilt batting, and I know it's on the right side because this is the side we want it on. And we're just gonna lightly put some glue on here. It doesn't need to be globbed on. Just all we want is just to hold it in place. So just holding it in place. It doesn't have to be glued to it, you know, because we're gonna cover this, so it truly doesn't matter. So now, cut off the excess. Now, if you haven't worked with the EVA foam before, and that's what you choose to use for yours, it does take a little bit of extra time. The EVA foam is going to want to pull away when you try to glue it down. It also melts with the hot glue, so that's a big thing you need to consider too, because it's a little harder to work with than felt, let's say. But not impossible, just a little bit harder, okay? So now we know I've got this cut. This is my top. This is going on that. We're in the right direction of the wing, so now I know we're good. So we take this, and this little V right here is gonna require us to cut into it. We have to make that cut. Otherwise, I mean, there's no way to, look at this, there's no way to pull it in there. It's just gonna be straight across. So in order to get this foam to go in two different directions, we've got to cut a V. So I'm holding this down, I'm cutting right into that V, about 1/8 of an inch away from the foam board. And then what I'm gonna do is put some glue. Now remember, the hot glue does melt the EVA foam. It gets very soft and very pliable when you add the heat of the hot glue to it. So don't put too much glue, and try not to tug on it too hard, because it literally, I would say it kind of turns into like chewed bubble gum. It just gets really soft and really gooey. That's just the nature of foam, okay? It's just what it does under hot glue. So I have my little V, and you can see from this side, it's a nice clean V there. We cut it in half. Now you'll see here too, it's not all the way up into the little, it's okay. Like from the front, you can't really tell that. It's totally fine. Now, sometimes I will just put a dot of glue in that little hole, and then take like scissors or something, kind of push it so there's not really a hole there. But honestly, from the front, you can't really tell, so I don't get too specific with that. All right, so we have this. I'm gonna go ahead and put some glue along this back side here just to hold everything in place for us. So I just put a nice strip, and since it's nice and straight, you just grab it over, and you're gonna have to hold it, right? This is gonna fight you. It's gonna wanna pull back. So you've gotta give it a little bit of extra time to cool off and hold. Unlike felt, you really don't have to hold it for very long at all. With the EVA foam, you definitely wanna hold it. Now I glued that a little too far, so let me just pull it off. And now we are going to go all the way around. I know it's really hard to see this on this, let's see, I have one of these. We'll use this. So basically, I'm just kind of tugging on it. And again, right here where the glue is, it's going to get really kind of gooey. And what you can do, use that to your advantage. Use your finger to kind of smash it around. Excuse me. Now we're going to go on this side. And we're just going to kind of grab a hold of it, tug it around. I'm using my left hand to kind of hold it once I tug it down. Go all the way around with it, just like that. And then I just use my finger to kind of smush it. And then you definitely need to hold that because it will try to pull back on you, okay? But by pulling it just a little bit at a time, and yeah, you're gonna have these little bumps and ridges back here, but your front is gonna look really nice and smooth. It's not gonna have any bumps and ridges, and that's the important part. Who cares what the back looks like, right? You can always go later and do this and cut off some of the little bumps. And then if you're going to cover it, it'll make it lay nice and flat. So we'll do the rest of it here. And I'm just doing glue. Now you notice I put a line of glue, but as I'm doing this, I'm not adding more glue. My finger isn't even on the trigger. What I'm doing is smearing that glue. So you get a nice even coat of glue to glue the foam to. You don't want to put a big old giant bead of glue, and then when you go to pull this down, it seeps out and burns your fingers, okay? So I put it like that, and then as I'm going back and forth, I just kind of smear it out with the nozzle, and then I grab the foam and pull it across. And I'm just using my fingers. I want to make sure that this line here is defined, you know. Just using my fingers. The glue or the foam is really pliable, so you can really make it go where you want it to once you put the hot glue on it. Okay, so I've noticed right here, I've got a little too much excess. I'm going to cut this off because it's just going to make it harder for me to glue this little end up here if I've got more foam underneath it. So now we're going to move on. I'm going to get glue all the way down. I'm going to smear it out. Just kind of get it everywhere. And then we're going to grab this side and do the same thing all the way around. Now my end here, I like to put some glue on the very end here. Like on the actual foam to make it really pliable. Then what I do is I just kind of close it and pinch it. And I'm going to cut this little pinch part off, but what it's going to do is it's going to really pull around and make a nice even bottom right down there. So I just, of course, I'm getting glue everywhere. That's the nature of working with attachments. You're going to get glue all over your fingers. You just have to be ready for it. So you definitely want a detail tip, high temp glue gun. But when you smear that glue out, it helps to cool it off. So by the time your fingers are in it, you're not getting burned. All right, so see how I just cut that off, and I'm gonna use my thumb, just kind of smush it down again while that glue is still warm. But look at the nice even front you get. I mean, there's, other than the glue strings that are driving me crazy. So it looks really good. And then you can just go back if you want to, and cut off some of the big lumps. So if you wanted to cover this back right now you would go ahead and cover it. Just go ahead and put whatever you want on there. All right, so I have cut out the EVA foam again, and I have used an X-Acto knife to cut out each. I drew it on the back side, and I used an X-Acto knife to cut out each little thing. And the fun part is you can make every one of these a different color if you want to. You could do red, white, and blue, make it patriotic. You could do pastels to make it Easter-like, spring-like. Honestly, it's a butterfly. There's really no, there's no limit, right? But I did this because initially I thought about cutting out the pink and having a pink wing, but then I ended up using this instead. So I don't know, I drew on here, didn't really need to, but I did. It's okay. So now I am going to do pink on the whole thing instead of doing the little pieces. I mean, if you guys want to do multiple colors like this, honestly, there's no way for me to tell you exactly what pattern piece, you know, to put it. There's none. You have to just cut little chunks and make sure that they're glued under each of these little things. That's not something that I can really teach you. You just kind of have to do it, I guess. Make it work. So I'm putting the wing on here, I'm lining them up. Now you can see there's a big difference at the top. It's just the way I cut it. It's okay. We can trim that off as soon as we're done. But the important part is getting this lined up so that there isn't a whole lot of pink showing on the edges. But if there is, again, you just trim it. No big deal. So for me, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna hold it with my left hand, so I don't want it to slide around. I'm gonna pull this back, and I'm putting glue on the black part because I don't want glue seeping through each one of these little holes. So I'm just kind of going around each one, and I'm gonna let it drop and then tap it, okay? So now that's gonna hold that in place for us. So now we can pull this back. Again, it does not take a lot of glue to glue this foam together, so don't go hog wild with your glue. I'm just doing little lines, and then I'm gonna let it drop, tap it. Okay, flip this side, the last of it. Kind of just get in there, do some zigs. Just like I said, make sure you're not putting so much that it seeps through the little holes, because you can't really pull it off of the holes because it's going to pull the glitter off. It's gonna be very noticeable. Now, if you wanted to decorate this, you absolutely could. Again, totally up to you. If you want to throw some sequins around the edge, if you want to do some cute little, like, well, this is a pink one, but cute little pipe cleaner sort of around the edge and just glue it. Do some trims. If you want to do some little blops of paint or little tiny cut felt, you can decorate your wing however you like. We're just going to cut this guy off of here, trim it up so that everything looks like one piece, just like that. And there. And now we're just going to glue this on. So I'm going to take, once your wing is decorated, I wouldn't glue these together until you decorated the wing how you want it. Do a line of glue there, and then I just place him on there. Now you can use the little Google eyes, you know, the little Google eye on here. You can use whatever you want. I personally like it without the face. When I do the front facing one with the two wings, I do use a set of eyes on that one because I have a really cute set that is, but they're not side eyes, they're face forward eyes. And I think it would look kind of silly on here. So I didn't use it. Now for your antenna, I'm just going to do one of these, like super simple, easy with a little pipe cleaner. Put some glue just down at the bottom edge here, and then just stick it to the back of the head somewhere. All right, and again, you can decorate the body. If you want to do things on the body, like I said, you can add little feet. You can, there's really no no limitations on this guy. But that is a simple overview of how I did these. Again, just whatever makes you happy, whatever's going to work with what you have, what you're making your wreath with, and go for it. This one is solid. This one I use 2 colors, and this one is just more decorative. So I hope you guys like this pattern. It's a great one to have. It's fun to make these because you have so many options out there. And I hope you guys like this one because I really feel like this could add, for minimal dollar, you can add a real big impact to a really cute floral springtime wreath. All right? Anyway, guys, hope you enjoyed this one. Thanks so much.